Now let's go prove that the God of the Old Testament is the devil. Now, this being said, Christians that might be watching this, you might be thinking, what? Blasphemy. You might want to skip this, but let me ask you this. Virgin sacrifice, is it not a key element of demonic worship? Well, the God of the Old Testament, quite frankly, accepts and demands virgin girls as sacrifice, children as sacrifice, punishing children for 3 generations, spreading plagues, and damn right killing kids. He's an evil deity, jealous, hateful, vengeful. Numbers 31, a large tribute is demanded by God. Let's read it right here. Numbers 31 to 32 to 35. The following is a list of what was captured by the soldiers, in addition to what they kept for themselves. 675,000 sheep and goats, 72,000 cattle, and 61,000 donkeys, and 32,000 virgins. The half share of the soldiers was 337,500 sheep and goats, of which 775 were the tax for the Lord, so offered to him as a sacrifice. 36,000 cattle for the soldiers, of which 72 were the tax for the Lord. 30,500 donkeys for the soldiers, of which 61 were the tax for the Lord. And 16,000 virgins for the soldiers, of which 32 were the tax for the Lord. So offered to God. Now, God enjoys the smell of burnt animal flesh. Specifically, this is a food offering to God, as they believe God would eat this food, flesh, animals. So these virgins were also offered as food offerings to God. This is why the Gnostic Gospels, Gospel of Philip, which is banned from the Bible, mentions that this God is a man-eater. Now, Judges 11 to 12, Japhan, who was a military leader, promised his virgin daughter as a sacrifice to God as a burnt offering. God accepts, and in exchange, God would kill his enemies. So let's go to Judges 11 to 12. Okay, well, this is Judges 11 to 29. Then the Spirit of the Lord came upon Japhar. He went through Gilead and Manasseh, or Manesh, sorry for the butchered name, and returned to Mizpah in Gilead and went on to Ammon. Japhar promised the Lord, if you give me victory over the Ammonites, I will burn as an offering the first person that comes out of my house to meet me. When I come back from the victory, I will offer that person to you as a sacrifice. Right there, he's offered God a sacrifice. God does not refuse, like the case of Isaac, which, why would a loving God even ask for a child sacrifice or even accept it? Now, 11 to 34 of Judges. Japhar's daughter. When Japhar went back home to Mizpah, there was his daughter coming out to meet him, dancing and playing the tambourine. She was his only child. Now, being a virgin girl, she would be young, 11, 12 maybe. When he saw her, he tore his clothes in sorrow and said, "O my daughter, you are breaking my heart. Why must it be you that causes me pain? I have made a solemn promise to the Lord that I cannot take it back." She said to him, "If you have made a promise to the Lord, do what you said you would do to me, since the Lord has given you revenge on your enemies, the Ammonites." But she asked her father, "Do this one thing for me. Leave me alone for 2 months, so that I can go with my friends to wander in the mountains and grieve that I must die a virgin." He told her to go and sent her away for 2 months. She and her friends went up into the mountains and grieved, because she was going to die unmarried and childless. After 2 months, she came back to her father. He did what he had promised the Lord, and she died still a virgin. So here you go. God of the Old Testament accepts virgin sacrifice, a demonic element. So, let's go to Leviticus 1.5 to 9. Sacrifices burnt whole. The Lord called to Moses from the tent of the Lord's presence and gave him the following rules for the Israelites to observe when they offer their sacrifices. When anyone offers an animal sacrifice, It may be one of his cattle or one of his sheep or goats. If he is offering one of his cattle as a burnt offering, he must bring a bull without any defects. He must present it at the entrance of the tent of the Lord's presence, so that the Lord will accept him. The man shall put his hand on its head, and it will be accepted as a sacrifice to take away his sins. He shall kill the bull there, and the Aaronite priest shall present the blood to the Lord, and then throw it against all four sides of the altar, which is at the entrance of the tent. Then he shall skin the animal and cut it up, and the priest shall arrange firewood on the altar and light it. They shall put on the fire the pieces of the animal, including the head and the fat. The man must wash the internal organs and the hind legs. The officiating priest will burn the whole sacrifice on the altar. The smell of this food offering is pleasing to the Lord. So he enjoys the smell, as this is a food offering to God. Again, so he's eating these sacrifices. Now, the human sacrifices, the church has really tried to hide all these elements. Why? Because many early Christian texts depicted this God as a devil. Jesus did not worship this God. Now, if we go to John 8:44. Okay. Jesus said to them, "If God really were your Father, you would love me because I came from God. And now I am here. I did not come on my own authority, but he sent me. Why do you not understand what I say? It is because you cannot bear to listen to my message. You are the children of your father, the devil, and you want to follow your father's desire. From the very beginning, he was a murderer and has never been on the side of truth, because there is no truth in him. When he tells a lie, he is only doing what is natural to him, because he is a liar and the father of all lies. But I tell the truth, and that is why you do not believe me." Now, this is the Pharisee Jesus is speaking to, who worship Yahweh, who Jesus here is calling the devil. He was a liar, a murderer. Jesus speaks about all-loving God. This God here is not all-loving. Now, the firstborn children of Egypt, God kills them. He spreads plagues and war, encourages war and death. Now, this here is demonic. So this here proves that the God of the Old Testament is the devil. Peace and love, many blessings, namaste.